Back to our channel, my dear family and friends. I'm sorry. I apologize for broadcasting so late. We got involved in some projects today, as usual, and it took us a while to get home. I think my hair looks pretty crazy. Maybe I'll just put on the hat. Yeah. Okay. Uh, anyway, we began the day. We put in yet another window. It was a monstrous window. It was 4 feet by like 8 feet, an old sliding glass door, and maybe not so old, that we got for a pretty good price, and we put it in. I was really worried because it was so big, and the two of us are, we struggle. We've gotten into some sort of twisted situations actually putting the window into the opening. But this one, I finally figured out how to engineer it so that it wasn't so hard. We could just like lay it down flat and then flip it up into place. Pretty cool. So we spent some time this morning getting another window into the house. I think I put out a little video that showed the video. That showed the window. It's really amazing. And then we had the great pleasure. I was driving out of the ranch, off the ranch. I was by the dumpsters. There's some dumpsters right before you leave, right before you hit the highway. Person was pulled over and talking to a friend, and started saying, waving to us, and went over, and I got to meet Valerie and Mike, who have lived here for 20 years, and she listens to the show every night. I was like, wow, that's so amazing. I mean, this is number four. This is the fourth person in my 5 to 7 year career that's actually recognized me outside of off channel, which it's always a treat. But they live on the ranch, and she goes by High Priestess. I think the high desert, high desert, something like high desert something. But hopefully, let's get the chats going. Yeah, hey Andrew Smith, and hey Dave Russell. Nice to meet you guys. Nice to see you. Nice to be back. I didn't get to do a lot of research. We ran into town, and I do want to thank all the people who have tried the LifeWave product. That because of your participation in this project, Daniela was able to order a set of glasses. She's been talking to me for a couple of years about getting glasses, and I just sort of like, we just don't have the money. And finally, she just saved up her own money from her LifeWave downline. She made some money, and we went off and we got her some glasses. So thank you very much. All is good. I see some really exciting posts. I'm just going to go to the post because I haven't really formulated it. We were running after we got glasses. We filled up our 100-pound gas tank. We got all kinds of little groceries. We fixed broken cell phones. we try to get as much done. We bought 10 pounds of 2.5-inch deck screws of construction nails. And we had, and we did the laundry. That's right. I forgot about the laundry. We did all that in one afternoon, into evening, and then we came home. We cooked some salmon and eggs, and that's yeah, okay. And then now I'm drinking my cup of coffee, which usually I'm well prepared, but Daniela's just making it now. Thank you so much, baby. And this is, by the way, Brian Best. He's my coffee man. He sent me a bag of Kenyan AA, calls it. And so I'm going to try it now. Black, which is really probably the best way to drink coffee, but it is chocolatey and delicious. It has a sort of a smoothness and a kind of a, like, not a bitter aftertaste, but a very how would I describe that? kind of like smooth but tangy, like a tangy aftertaste. Pretty cool stuff. Also, yeah, let me just share the LifeWave contact information, and I want to remind people that there's a promotion going on till 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time. So if you're in
Which is in 7 minutes.
7 minutes, yeah, which isn't 7 minutes in New York City. But the aloe vera patch, which cleanses your pineal gland, helps your skin, is good for sleep. The aloe vera patch and skin products are being sold at a discounted rate. You get 2 sleeves of aloe vera, which is like 2 months supply, and some skin products for like $160 or something. And it also makes a great gift item if you're interested in buying a really progressive and important uh, product for your friends to help them heal. I like aloe vera a lot. I'm interested in checking it out. Danielle is excited because it's supposed to be good for, as she says down there. It helps your reproductive health. Anyway, all is good. We got all kinds of cool food. We got asparagus. We got, what else do we get? We didn't get, no. Don't talk about this. Okay. Well, I don't want to go there. I'm going to go straight to the news because I haven't done a lot of research, but what I've seen so far is pretty interesting. I think we're well along on this process of the Great Awakening. Okay. So let's go right to some of these posts. Wait a minute. That's the wrong one. Hold it. Let me go back. Probably the coffee will help me a bit. Okay, let's go here. Just all kinds of interesting posts coming out. I'm going to go to the top of the screen, but I also, all right. Number 5, impeachment. You keep watching it. You'll love how the movie ends. So that's 2 articles of impeachment in 2 days. Guess what tomorrow's Delta is? Tomorrow is December 11th. What are the odds of that? You're watching fake news, fake politicians, fake Hollywood, all play to their Destroy America base. Facts matter. Formally, I introduce articles of impeachment against Robert F. Kennedy Jr. These people are off the hook, but this happened. I mean, for it to happen on this Delta on December 11th, a Q Delta from 2018 is pretty impressive. Let me go all the way up to the beginning. If you voted for Trump because you wanted to end the satanic pedophile cult that runs our political swamp, please like this post and retweet it so everybody knows where you stand. Interesting. Breaking: the Federal Reserve just cut interest rates by a quarter of a point, lowering interest rates from 3.5 to 3.75. This is the third cut in a row. President Trump and Scott Bissett were right. Trump appointed Stephen Moran, dissented, wanting a 50% point cut, keep cutting into 2026. The Fed must do the right thing. All right, that's interesting. I saw some other posts. Dan on Facebook 6 days ago. What a time to be alive. Okay, let me go to my own some of the things, and let me get to the chat. Okay. Where do you get LifeWave patches in Canada? Just call Dr. Stacy. You can get them in Canada. You can get them all over the world, and you can reach Dr. Stacy from all over the world. Just give her a text or Gmail her, or just go to my website www.lifewave.com/Kabbalah Guru, and you can order whatever you like. and I will greatly appreciate it. And if you become a brand partner, and if you want to help others by sharing it as well, go ahead. We are enjoying right now the combination of X39 and X49. I'm going to show you a clip of a man who talks about that, but it's very energizing, very mental. The mental clarity and the feeling of peace that I've been getting lately is extraordinary. Okay, so let me stop sharing. I want to go to wait. Let me go. Let me see. Okay, let me go here to here to here. Okay, there we go. But where did that go? Where did that go? Oh no. Okay, wait a minute. Let's go back to this. I'm gonna stop sharing. Sorry, I'm not totally. Let's go to here and here. Okay, there we go. Okay, now I'm going to go to my own channel because there's some pretty interesting posts. Do we sign up under you in Canada? Yes, you do sign. You would be signing up under me if you use that website or if you call Dr. Stacy. And again, I really appreciate. We really appreciate it. Daniela got glasses, so she's really psyched. Yeah, so all you have to do is sign up under my website. If you go to my website and you can sign up. But thank you very much, Zeta Boy. And feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or concerns, or you just want to tell me how effective it is or not effective it is, or whatever you want to share that you want to share with your don't hesitate. I mean, I'm not, honestly, I'm not the easiest person to reach just because I'm so busy. But you if you really want to talk to me, and you certainly, if you're a LifeWave a person, um just Gmail me at kabbalahguru@gmail.com. And if you don't hear from me right away, keep after me until you do. And eventually I'll send you my number, and you could text me and we could talk. But I'm open to that. Especially people involved with the LifeWave, because I think it's a tremendous opportunity to develop a community of people who can make a living doing something that they really can get behind. Very smooth, the Kenyan coffee. So yeah, and it really, LifeWave is distributed worldwide. So yeah, and again, we thank you for your participation. Hey, good evening. Great to see everybody. Again, I was telling the story that I met Valerie and Mike from that live just up the road from me, like about 5 miles up the road, maybe even more. They live deep into the remotest of the remote of this ranch. It's a very big ranch, and they broke it up into little pieces so people could live here. But this is all the contact information you need. You can call Dr. Stacy if you feel like, I'm the kind of person that if I buy something like this, I want to talk to somebody. Just like when I go shopping, I want to, I like the person we bought glasses from, or the person who helped us replace the lenses, the covers on our cell phones. I want to know. I want to know what they're about. So if you're like me and you want to talk to somebody, just call Dr. Stacy. Or text her, and she'll get back to you. And if you need that kind of thing, I like that. My friend Nachum, he said, why would I call Dr. Stacy? He knows the direct marketing really well, so he just would sign up on the website. But I love Dr. Stacy. We've been doing a show every Tuesday at 3:30 Eastern Standard Time, and she has a great Zoom class Tuesday and Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Thank you. I got a little behind on my coffee drinking. I don't really need coffee as much as I used to, and it's very late for me. It must be late for you guys as well. Really appreciate you stopping in. Okay, so let me show you a couple of posts that I think were, unless anybody has any other questions or yes, about LifeWave or anything else. I'm 60. I've been in the patches for 5 months and fixed a lot of tissue. Feel like I'm in my 50s now. Yeah, it definitely has the effect of making you younger. I keep looking at Danielle and she's like I'm like you look younger than when I met you. That was 2 years ago. She looks like a little, she's getting younger and younger. I'm like, this could be dangerous, baby. I mean, I could get in trouble for hanging out with you if you keep looking younger and younger. I mean, but it's definitely an amazing technology, and I encourage people. I love that you guys are interested in it too. It's what they say. When I went to this boot camp, and they say, listen, if you don't sign somebody else up. If you don't sign somebody, somebody else will, because everyone, a lot of people, a tremendous amount of people are going to be using these patches. They're life changing, and they make you young. They make you feel and look younger. So they're amazing. But there is this Alavita sale until well, now in New York City. If you're in New York City, I guess you can't order it yet. Hey, P. Um, Spadenine, Padenine. Um, Good to see you. Good evening, Zilla. Anton, great to see you, man. You're up late. It's like gosh, it must be 12 o'clock in Alabama, right? Or 11 o'clock at least. All these time zones are so bizarre. Okay, uh, Park Grant. Am I pronouncing it right? Parker Grant. Cool name. All right, let's just well, it's just I guess I shouldn't be so rushed. I know some I don't really watch other podcasters, so I don't know, but sometimes I think they're more responsive. Midnight in Florida. Wow, you're up late, man. What's up with that? I mean, this is really late for us to be, especially to be broadcasting now, but we got home really late. Well, we accomplished a lot today. We got up with the sun, and I started working on the windows. Daniela was working on the house, and we we put in the window together. It was a big, heavy beast of a window. It was really a sliding glass door that was humongous. I really didn't know how I didn't know how it was going to go, but it went in pretty easy. So that's in. It just we keep going around the whole building, waiting for your show. Oh, that's so sweet. That's so sweet. Yeah, man. I mean, okay, so I'm waiting for my coffee, a kind of a coffee rush. I'm a little bit worn out with the laundry was really exhausting for some reason, just to have to deal with that. But hopefully, love the live. Thank you so much, Parker Grant. I can't tell you how much it means to me. I just this is like fantasy time for me. It's just like I get to really do what I really love to do. And it's just so rewarding to know that people are getting something from it. It's just like beyond information. Like information is relatively meaningless as far as I'm concerned. The movie, the what's really happening, the scare event, the economy flipping over, the all these kind of details become less and less meaningful as time goes on. And I really think it's all about ascension. That really, and what does that mean? I think it means becoming yourself, becoming like what you were when you were 5 years old before society beat the hell out of you and made you surrender to this bunch of idiots who, and like school and stuff. I just remember like Sunday night, the punishment I get for always like I wasn't like a like a mean or out of control kid. I was very controlled, but and I did well, but pretty well for somebody who didn't really try very hard. But it was torture. It was torture for me in many ways to go to school, and I just remember Sunday nights thinking like, I really hope the world gets blown up tonight so I don't have to go to school. And that's that is funny. Yeah. Okay. Is this love the live? Thank you. It makes my day to hear truth for a change, right? Well, thank you. I feel like I want to deliver a lot of information, but I don't think the information is that important. I think what's important is understanding the context and creating your own um, interpretation of the narrative. It's all about the story, in other words, that you tell yourself. And the story can change, and you can change. You totally get it. Hey, Carrie Murphy. Yeah, Carrie, you were on a couple nights ago, right? I remember you made some interesting points. Uh, it's yeah. I mean, I was just so delighted to meet Valerie and Mike because to see a face of somebody who interacts that I never really get to see, and to see that they live near me is pretty amazing. Like you, when I grew up, very little inside life, always was outside as a kid. Me too. I was always running around outside. You know what? I had a memory recently, and I want to share this because I think it's a very important thought in a sense, and that is I got very into Doctor Doolittle series where he talked to animals. I read like every one of his books. I also there's certain things that really just reading back in the day was a very rewarding pastime for me. I really like to read. I haven't read in many years since I got my degree in creative writing. I read a lot then when I was writing, but then I'm more interested in the kind of communication in this sort of social media communication ideas, the rapid exchange of ideas. Anyway, I spent many years reading this Doctor Doolittle series, and it was really wonderful. Like he would close his eyes, open up an atlas, drop a pencil, and wherever the pencil landed, he would go there, and he could talk to all the animals. So I just remember, and I wonder if anybody else had this experience, but I remember when I was young. Gosh, I was in my new house, so I must have been at least 6 years old, maybe a little older. I remember thinking like I was so lonely, and I was a popular kid. I was so lonely that I would go into the forest and I would sit under a tree that was very protected and just like and plead with the universe to send me a deer or an animal that could communicate with me. you know it's very difficult, and it's very painful to live with a lot of people, and it's like you can be more lonely and more desperate in the city because there's so many people around, and yet you're completely isolated. You have no one to communicate with. And I just had that memory recently. I mean, because we live out here, and we do kind of have friendships with the animals. I mean, the animals have not so far crossed the line. We saw a javelina when my when Daniela's cousin came up. He left his truck open. He had some food in there, and the javelinas are they're like flat pigs. They're like two-dimensional pigs. I don't know if you ever seen a javelina. They're like, imagine a round pig, like flat, like a fish, right? Like like you see the tropical fish that the big round. They're flat basically. That's a javelina. It's like a two-dimensional pig, but the javelina just trotted by. We've seen javelina up here, but we have a particularly a very close relationship with the walking sticks now. The walking sticks. I think I saved a walking stick one afternoon. I saw something in my water bucket, and I picked it up, and it was alive. It was a walking stick. It had somehow fallen into the bucket, and I very carefully put it under the RV, and now we have a lot of like walking stick juniors around, like little, they're about this big. They're they don't look like they're alive. They just look like a little piece of stick, maybe. I mean, but we would like to think that we protect them, and so today I was putting up the window, and one of the one of the brood, one of the walking sticks, a little a junior, a juvenile, came and like kept me company on the boards. He was right by me. I was made sure I didn't fall on him or hit him with the board, but there was a lot of vibrations going on, a lot of like screwing and hammering and stuff, and he just seemed unfazed for my ignorance. But what is a walking stick? Right. So a walking stick is kind of like a praying mantis. In fact, it may even be a praying mantis. Uh, but it's just it looks like a stick, but it has a head and a tail and a bunch of legs. It may be it may have been maybe a praying mantis. I'm not sure if it's a praying mantis or a walking stick, but there is such a thing, and I've seen them. It's just it looks like a walking stick. I mean, how do you not believe in creation when you see things like that? How do you not? How do you make a logical like disregard for an animal that is so beautiful to look like a stick to and walk. So yeah, so that's my little our little we're fond of them. There's some other insects that we don't really enjoy, like houseflies are very much not invited into our domain. We do not like visiting from houseflies. The moths also can be troublesome. But the walking stick, there are other, and oh, we found it with this black beetle that was eating up all our tomato leaves. We definitely had a bad a bad vibe from those guys, and we don't treat them kindly anymore. But yeah, we're up here. We're up here in the remote. It's a desert, so there's nothing really moves so much. I mean, the desert is still. We do there are some wild cows that came by this morning, about 6 of them, and they were mooing quite persistently. I was wondering if they were trying to invite me for tea, or maybe they had some delicious grass to offer me. I don't know, but but I moved back a few times, and they seem to be responsive, and that's just life in the Mojave. It's there are a lot of chameleons, but we do see deer. But generally, the mountain lions and the small creatures. I did see a chipmunk the other day, and I made it pretty clear to him that we didn't really appreciate his presence. So many faces, but none are familiar. Why, like small towns, walk to school bus for a mile on a gravel road. Do you remember the Freedom Train that came through town in the spring of 1976? I don't. I don't. But I appreciate your remembrances. Walked by the cows and sheep in the fields. Yeah, it's really it's wherever you live. There's I I once like I my first the only the my first article that I was ever published, when I was a writer, when I was fancying myself a writer, was an article in the Long Island Fisherman. I was a very hardcore fisherman, and I wrote an article called Backyard Bass. And Backyard Bass basically said that wherever you live, you can find magical places, magical natural places. Like for example, I lived in a suburban town, and when I was a teenager, I discovered a stream that ran through the woods, and I saw I found there were like what I would call sucker fish. There were carp in the river breeding and swimming, and it was just I just they weren't trout, they weren't salmon, but they were and this idea that no matter where you live, like I don't know, if you've been out in the country, when I was a fisherman, I would always, we my parents might go. Let's say we would stop. We were traveling. We'd stop at a little inn or a little restaurant, and they had a pond in the back. Those little ponds were usually the most fertile in terms of active fish life. Real. I don't know what it's like now. I mean, I just I don't fish anymore, but back in the day, you could find the most wondrous things just really wherever you are. Hey, Jerry Collier, great to see you. Yeah, there are many simple yet precious memories. Magical. Yeah, it is magical because to a child, and we're all children. We just have like our bodies got a little bit older, but we're all basically like little kids. And once you understand that, I think it makes you want to talk to everyone. I just have the most pleasant conversations. I met a gentleman waiting. I was waiting to get a little cash so we could go to the laundromat. I went to Chase to get like $20 or $40, and I met a gentleman. We started talking about how in the old days. I mean, this is just a nice guy just standing there. We're just had a minute. We're waiting for the machine to be available, and we started talking about how in the old days, which is not so, like let's say how many years ago? 20, 20. Really? I guess let's say 60 years ago, 50, 60 years ago, that families on Thanksgiving, I mean, there probably still are some families like this, but in my family, we had 30, 40 people, I would say, aunts and uncles and cousins and strange aunts and cool cousins and mean cousins, and we would all get together on Thanksgiving or whatever, and it's just like now I don't even, the fact that Daniela's father and her cousin came to spend Thanksgiving with us was monumental, because how many people have to spend Thanksgiving by themselves now? It's just the whole society has collapsed. Besides the fact that what we're seeing from the Q posts and everything else, it, families, people don't stay together. It's a collapse of civilization. But I think out of the ashes of this collapse is gonna grow an amazing new cycle of life and babies and a kind of reverence for life, because we are all survivors of this grand Holocaust depopulation event. So we are like going to be celebrating the fact that we're still alive and that we have a future and a beautiful future. Uh, Carp. Yeah, I don't I cannot I would not eat carp. I mean it looks too much like meat. It just doesn't look, it's not like something I would put in my mouth. Let's put it that way. Um think like a kid, maybe living my second childhood. Well, that's beautiful. That's beautiful to discover your own, and to really to look at life with eyes of wonder and bliss and excitement is really rewarding. Could I have a little bit more, baby? Just maybe half a quarter of a cup. Yeah. Oh, she's okay. Um at my aunt Gwen's big ranch parties with her huge sows running through the yard. Nice. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anybody still has that. I used to be, I used to be very jealous of people like families that were very protective and close with each other. Like I had uh, a friend of mine who the family did they did everything together. And then I met him a couple of years ago, and he was like, I'm like, "How's your sister?" He's like, "Well, I don't talk to my sister," And I'm like, "Well, what about your cousins?" He's, "Oh, they're crazy." It's just like that. You just never know what really is going on inside of any situation. Okay, so yeah, so okay, so that's and also, excuse me for a second. Uh, they social media that since the expulsion, since the COVID, the Holocaust, we don't have these kinds of families, and I think that's what's attractive about this channel is that we have a kind of a place where all the misfits can sort of hang together because we don't really fit in. I mean, in a deliciously wonderful way, because probably when people see you, they get really excited because they see somebody who's really a person. Everybody's family is falling apart. Yes, since exposure at the time in our life, nobody is exempt. Family friend, or yeah, it's a desolate kind of time. I'm going to get X39 to help my diabetes. Yeah, I would, and I would get. We're using X39 and X49, but I would Parker Grant. I would talk. These things are totally curable. Diabetes, cancer, all these things are online. If you go on X, there are all kinds of cures. But if you talk to Dr. Stacy has had a lot of experience in the LifeWave world, so she's been doing this for like 5 years. And remember, she had a, um, a special needs daughter who was really affected positively by these patches. But she's talked to hundreds of people, and she may know somebody who had diabetes, and then maybe they took the Eon patch, which is very good for inflammation. But these patches are really spectacular, and I can't say enough good about it. We continue to explore different patches. Like I said, my friend is exploring the glutathione patch. We're going to see he's doing a clinical study. He's using himself as a lab rat, and he got his blood drawn. I'm curious to see how it goes. But for me, I mean, health is wealth. Health is really the wealth. The greatest riches that you could have is just to be healthy. And when you're healthy, you don't notice it. You don't notice that you're healthy. It's only when you're unhealthy that you notice and miss how happy it was when you were healthy and how you didn't really appreciate it, maybe. Like your song Big Pharma Killing Us. Yeah, no, absolutely. They're absolutely killing us. It's depopulation. Got that right. Don't fit in. Yeah. We don't fit in, but it's not a bad thing. We're not supposed to fit in. We're supposed to be the Pied Pipers, just I have this friend, Greg Whitehunt. You can see him online. I met Greg Whitehunt. No, I met Sparky Brown through Greg Whitehunt. Two great gurus. When I was really changing, when I had that heart opening, when I talked about the New Morning, how I had a heart opening. It's Sparky Brown and Sheila and Greg had a big hand in it. And Sean, my friend who writes songs with me, was also he was always running the men's groups in Nashville. But Greg is he's an engineer by trade, and he built this like round house, kind of like what I'm building, but maybe more spectacular in a sense because he had a roof that where he grew. He had a grass roof, growing living roof. Maybe I'll end up doing that. I don't think so out in the desert, but he plays of the many things he does. He's an ethnobotanist. He's an engineer. He plays French horn. He does a lot of different things, but one of the things his real passion seems to be making flutes from bamboo. He grows his own bamboo and he cuts them into flutes. Gosh, I think I still have the flute that he gave me. I love the flute that he gave me is just it has a particular set of notes that's very kind of like 432 hertz, very beautiful. It makes me want to go out and get it. But Greg has taken after the shamans, the ayahuasca shamans, and he plays flute all the time. He's an amazing dude. He was one of those people that said, you can live any way you want. And it was just like coming from the suburbs. It was just it just blew my mind. You mean I don't have to I have to be a doctor or lawyer to be acceptable. It's like, no, he says, you do whatever you want. And then he proceeded to introduce me to 5-methoxy DMT, which definitely was off the rails. I refused to get the jab, lost most of my friends over my opposition to it. Yeah, me too. I also lost my job and my YouTube channel and my like in the song The Matrix. I lost my community. I lost my relationship. Yes, I've heard of rammed earth. We are experimenting with things like that. We're trying different things. I'm not sure. I think we'll just keep experimenting because I'm hoping to build a series. There's some really amazing spots on my land, and I'm hoping to build several houses and maybe have people come up here and sort of hang out and meditate or just see what we do or learn our building styles as they evolve. My building style hopefully will change over time and become more as I learn and try different things. Oh, well, I'll find out, well, that really didn't work and this really did. Right now I'm going through my window phase. I'm just kind of like enjoying the idea of, I went to a window place and they said, I said, I gave them all the sizes I thought I needed. And they said, it'll be about $30,000 for windows. I'm like, you know, what, what I'm gonna take out a mortgage for windows. So now the fact that I'm buying old sliding glass doors for $50 and less and finding them to be the most spectacular usage of the best way, because I wanted to have windows all around because it's so beautiful here. Why would you want to be cut off from nature if you live in the middle of nowhere? But yes, I have tried rammed. I've talked to Native Americans about they use clam shells or actually oyster shells and hay, uh, straw in their making using mud. We've got lots of rocks and dirt up here, so I intend to use them for insulation, at the very least as insulation. I've already decided that I want to put, if I don't do a rammed earth kind of technology, at the very least I will insulate a lot of my lower walls with rock and dirt because I think they make an excellent insulator. Yeah. Um, I know you probably don't want to entertain this, but how do you feel about the new documentary that 50 Cent's put out? But I don't really, I don't delve into things like that. It's just not. I'm sure it's interesting. Tires, tin cans. Yeah, I know a lot of people do that, but I don't live in a place with any tire. There are not a lot of tires here. I don't need tires. I have wood, and there are sawmills around. So and I'm a carpenter, so I'm using wood, but I'm using it in a very different way than most people would might use it, and because I'm basing the foundation of the house is essentially cedar posts and ponderosa pine, humongous logs, almost like logs, like half rounds. And then I'm attaching. It occurred to me, it's like I was thinking, I want to build this house with totally natural materials. And then it came to me one day, it says, no, 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 you want to do it hybrid. You want to use regular lumber. I mean, I was staying away from regular lumber because I couldn't afford it. And then I got all this dunnage. But the interesting thing is that the dunnage is all the boards are slightly warped. So I have to build. It's kind of like, it's more like a jigsaw puzzle than a formal square box building house. And I don't care. I just want it to be creative. I want it to be fun. I want Daniela to enjoy it. We're just having fun. Carpenter too. Love to work with my yeah, me too. You know what? I love to work with my hands when I'm not working on the clock for somebody else. Like when I'm working for somebody else on the clock, I feel pressure to produce, and I I I have accidents. It's not, and I'm nervous the whole time, and I'm trying to push myself to give them their money's worth. But now when we're working for ourselves. It's just me and Danielle, and Danielle's like, "Hey, let's get another window put in. Why not?" Then it's utter joy. It's utter joy because I have all my tools laid out. I don't have to put them away at night because very rarely does it rain up here. There's no moisture, there's no dew, that kind of stuff. So I just pick up wherever I left off the day before, and the only sometimes it's very windy, and that makes it a little bit uncomfortable. But yeah, it is just utter joy, and I was telling Gila the other day, it's a meditation. When you're out there, you're just in the zone. You're not worried. You're not thinking about what you should be when you grow up. Anything exciting like that. I'm not gonna press into the. I mean, if you guys don't mind, it's kind of an off night. It's late, and I'm just enjoying just sort of hanging with you guys, if that's all right. Newscom destroyed my business in Cali. I fled to Florida. Yeah. No, these people were horrible. I mean, I lost my job as a public school teacher. I mean, I was 20 years in the system. Well, I was 20 years in the system. I wasn't of the system, But it turns out that my lawsuit against the Department of Education was was supposed to be heard or addressed by the Supreme Court earlier or late last week, and they put it off. But I just got a note this morning that they're gonna like the Supreme Court is going to consider our case on Friday, so that could be really exciting. You have to be creative, but it makes it fun. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You have to be creative when you're not dealing. I'm not dealing with 100% material. I'm not dealing with plans. I'm not dealing with architects. I'm not dealing with certification. I'm not dealing with the government. I'm just having fun building like a house, just like if you were building a tree house. It's like that's kind of like what I feel like I'm doing, and it's beautiful. It's really turning out nice. I didn't upload the picture. I have some pictures of our new window. It is spectacular. You can you don't. Here's the thing: you don't have to use things the way they are used. Like for example, in getting this dunnage, I got all this what I would call 5/4 by 6. It's a board about this wide, 20-foot long, that's used for facings for fascia board, they call it. So they put it on the cap to cap off rafters. But I'm thinking to myself, I could use that for flooring, I could use it for siding, I could use it for anything. It's 20-foot boards that are an inch thick. That's a great material to work with. So I was telling my friend at the lumberyard who helps us, I said, I could, I may use it for my deck. And he says, "Oh no, it's fascia boards for the fascia." It's like he doesn't get that you don't have to follow the rules. You don't have to use things the way you're supposed to. There's no supposed to up here. It's like you got to do it this way. It's like, no, I really don't. I can do it any way I want. That's really delightful. It's just so much fun. Not, like the whole our whole society is based on like this is the way it's done. And if you don't, you have to learn how to do it. Instead of like just being a child and just saying like, hey man, anybody could put together a tree house. You don't need to be, Joe Architect. You don't need to be Frank Lloyd Wright to build a cool tree house. Building a house without any plans. Yeah, and that's what we're doing. And we're going to build a bunch of houses without plans. And I think at some point we're going to have people come and join us and just build with us and have fun with us and see what we're doing so that they can, if they don't, if they don't have experience, let's say with carpentry, and they want to know how to do it, I could, they could come up and I could show them just like the basic. I think the basic principles of building a house are, it's basically you just have to be connected to the ground, and you have to be careful about the uh the structure, but it doesn't have to be. There isn't a right way to necessarily to do things. In fact, in the old days, they used to do what was called balloon framing, which did not. It's not the same way they do it now. In other words, they would take really long uh, two by fours and have it run from the ground all the way up to the rafters. I think that's what balloon framing was, and they'd hang a second floor on these uprights. That's kind of what I'm doing in a way, because I'm basing the whole structure of the house is based on like 15-foot cedar posts that are pretty thick and that go 2 feet in the ground. But the hybrid aspect is that I'm putting 2x6s. I'm joining 2x6s to these uprights, and then I'll put a band. I think somebody on the channel said I'll put a band on top, and then construct a roof from the band. But I mean, if the basic principle of using headers, that things need to be supported by the uprights, so that you can't just rely on. You don't want to just nail things in willy-nilly. You want to know that everything is being that the cross pieces are touching pieces that are basically anchored to the ground in some respect. It's just common sense, right? Like balloon frame is excellent. Yeah. Yeah, it's just common sense, and so that's what I would like to teach up here. I would like people to come and that don't feel comfortable using, because nowadays, honestly, when I was doing carpentry, which was like 30 years ago, I had a bunch of guys from Ireland come. There are people from Ireland on the channel, but they could do unbelievable things with hand saws. They were like, what do I need that for? And they would just, saw. They were just, they were old time craftsmen. But nowadays, the tools are so good and so easy to use. And if you know the language of carpentry, if you know what tools you need to use a skill saw, by the way, with tremendous caution, because it is dangerous as hell, because it could kick back at you. You need to know how to use a chop saw, which is a much safer version of it's not good for cutting longs, but for cutting just cutting the ends off of a, let's say, a 2x4 or 2x6. You slowly, you don't ram it into the wood, but you slowly cut it, and it's got a heavy base, so it's not as dangerous as a skill saw. I mean, the hands, everything has to be done with caution. Once if you're conscious and you're not, it's so much fun. It's just so much fun, and anyone can do it. Like even me, right? Like I became a carpenter at the age of 26. I never was interested in doing anything like that. I just my father used to do a lot, and I was just like, Dad, why don't you hire somebody like everybody else? He's like, I can't really afford to, and I don't want to. I want to do it myself. And then at like 26, after being at Columbia for a couple of years in the writing school and dealing with those assholes, I was just like, I do not want to do anything intellectual, man. I want to just be a carpenter, and I learned. I learned, I started working right away, not on a crew, but I would just hire myself out as a handyman, and people would say, "Could you do this?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, I think so. I think I could figure it out." And I would just figure it out. Like, how do you do it? How do you put it in a window? I'd be like, "Oh, I don't know, but you give me a few bucks, I'll figure it out." And I did. And then I had a whole company. I had 10 guys working for me. But I did at the age of like 19, when I ran away to Nashville. What I did take a job as a framing carpenter, but I could not. I just They gave me a 22-ounce hammer. I think I weighed at the time like 135, and the 22-ounce hammer was like bigger than I was. So and they were like, and I really tried hard. The guy said, "How do you fire somebody who's trying so hard?" He was really compassionate towards me, but I just couldn't do it. I was not I'm not built to be a framing carpenter, but now I'm framing, and it's joyous to do it on my own. Handmade block planes and handsaws. Yeah, I know. There's a rabbi in Crown Heights who builds like old ancient, like jewelry boxes and stuff with inlays, and he does everything with hand tools. But that's just, it's his joy of being alive to do these things. And whether it's like with Gila, whether it's dentistry, whether that is a highly advanced, that's a craft that goes beyond my understanding. I mean, my father was a dentist, so I just know how he was so good with his hands, and he had such powerful hands. He was also a sculptor because he had this incredible power. Frugal off-grid channel is what you guys are doing in AZ. Yeah, I believe this is what is asked for, but start from scratch in the Arizona desert and promote some things you might be even. Yeah, yeah, I know. It's exciting. I would love to have some of those jewelry boxes. Yeah, he's really talented. You would never know him. He's actually a principal of one at the special needs school in Crown Heights, and he's just the sweetest guy. I still occasionally email him, and he says he watches my channel, which I'm always amazed. I would meet. I'm always amazed when I meet somebody and they say they watch my channel, because I don't feel like I offer anything. I don't know. It's different. Um, I swang a 32-ounce hammer for years. Wow. Yeah, you must be a big dude, man, because I can't even pick up a 32-ounce hammer, I mean, I have to like crouch down. I have a certain style of lifting things. I always bend my knees to protect my back. But really, the X39, if you're 70 years old like me, and you're building houses, or you know or if you're suffering from some kind of weird disease that the mainstream medical community is not interested in curing, get the patches. I'm going to play. Let me play a little short clip from a testimonial that I think you'll like. Let's see, where did that go? Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Hi, Andy.
Hi, how are you?
Today?
Good. Got a quick little story about my success with LifeWave. And in 2021, I was diagnosed with a bulging disc and a pinched nerve going all the way down my arm into these two fingers to where my arm was completely unfunctional. The only thing that gave me any kind of relief was acupuncture, but that got kind of expensive and a lot of appointments and stuff. And then I was introduced to LifeWave, and I tried the combination 3949, and I thought it was kind of silly, the whole thing, but I was keeping an open mind. And I remember I woke up on my 60th birthday and I had no pain, and I thought that maybe it was just drinking too much or just kind of stuff. And then the next few days I slept better, I felt better, and my pain literally went away. I stopped going to acupuncture, and I've been continuing using the product, and it's been miracles for me. So
That's
real happy.
amazing. You mentioned also that you had numbness and tingling in your hand and two
Yes.
fingers,
Yes,
and that's
yes.
gone as well.
It is. I had tingling through my whole arm, numbness constantly, a lot of pain and stuff, and it's completely gone.
That's amazing,
I have nothing.
Andy.
I can fully function my arm, even lift weights now, so I'm real happy.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you look so good and
Yeah, thank
healthy,
you.
and
Thank you.
look at that.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your
You're
story.
welcome.
We really
Living the dream.
appreciate it. It was great to meet you.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
Yeah, so I think it's a really great technology. Nino disclosed Earth's dome in the latest video, 5,000 views in one day. That's great. Yeah, Earth's dome. Yeah, these guys they get a lot of audience. You know what? I don't, and I don't care. I'm happy. I mean, I'd like to be, I'd like more people to sort of like chill out. I find Nino very, he's very excited about all this, and it's wonderful. But I guess I'm a niche guy, some ideas. I'm just trying to give you some ideas of Arizona desert, and someone started from scratch. It's a channel, you and Danielle. Yeah, we'll definitely check it out. But we want to do it our way. Hillel and Jesus, yeah. Hillel said, they asked him, could you describe the Torah while standing on one foot? He said, just don't do to other people what you don't want them to do to you. The rest is commentary. So yeah, that's pretty good, Richard. Good to see you. Frugal off grid on YouTube. I'll try that. Yeah, I think we're like doing our own version. I'm imagining, but yeah, it's. I guess the off grid part of this. I mean, a lot of people said I should do my own channel with this, and I could make a lot of money. I like to just put this in the context of the Great Awakening. Anyway, I guess I didn't do anything. Let me just go and let me just pick onto the thought stream for 1 second. Just do a few things. Breaking 600,000 illegals have been deported from the interior of our country in less than 365 days, and another 1.9 million self-deporting, totaling over 2.5 illegals gone. A monumental achievement. We are just getting started. Here's one. Dandelion root obliterates 95% of cancer cells in the lab, cuts human colon tumor growth in mice by over 90% with zero harm to healthy cells. This fit with over 1,100 studies showing anti-cancer effects from natural compounds. Common backyard plants terrify the chemo cartel, right? What is this? Ripple now works across Swift. Leading CFOs are waving goodbye to that binary. Ripple and GT Treasury combine 40 years of Treasury expertise with proven payment infrastructure serving hundreds of financial institutions. The results, rail agnostic platforms that work across Swift, ACH wires, and blockchain networks with zero vendor lock-in. Okay, interesting. There's okay. Here's a good one.
Well, we keep it, I guess.
Where does it go? What port does it go to?
Well, you have to follow.
He's talking about the tanker that they caught. Debriefing, great repricing. No hoping. Everyone keeps asking, when does the system break? Here's the truth. It already did. Now they're just repricing the world around the wreckage. And the evidence anywhere, if you stop looking at isolated events and look at the pattern, that is key. Okay. Stop looking at isolated events and look at the pattern. That's kind of what I try to do here. That's what I feel like is my calling. You guys got that? Okay, so let's see if we can look at this together. Um, when when government starts seizing the rails, not the criminals, that's repricing. Okay, let me go. I'm going to go back. Okay, let me stop. Let me go to this post because I think this is an interesting post. Here, oh, what happened? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Why did this happen? Um, I lost it. Okay. Okay, I think I'm back. No. What happened? Okay. I'm just gonna I'm just gonna say goodnight because I don't know how to fix this particular issue. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. May the force be with you. May God, the force, source, protect you. And let's get out there with a big smile on our face and rock the world.